Check. Test check.
Check.
Welcome to the show. This is my show. Thanks for tuning in. Here it comes again.
And here we are. I have Travis Montgomery in the studio today. Hello, Travis.
Hey.
Hi.
Hi.
All right, this was kind of a last minute thing, so we're just going to jump right into it. Travis, what is your age and what do you currently do for a living?
I'm 30 years old, and I guess you can say I'm a musician 3/4 of the time.
Okay.
But primary thing I do is I manage a shipping/fulfillment company.
Okay.
And I do that in Utah.
What's like a typical day in that realm?
Most of it's sitting in front of a computer, but dealing with clients over Skype.
Okay.
And most of our clients are Amazon sellers.
Mm-hmm.
So they will send us orders, and we're storing all of their inventory, and then I ship in whatever they tell me to Amazon.
Is it pretty hectic over Christmas?
Yeah, really hectic. Yeah, I was glad to get out of there for the holidays because, like, the couple weeks leading up to Christmas, you have everybody freaking out, wanting you to make them a priority.
Right.
It's like, man, it's literally me and 2 other people there.
Yeah.
So it's me trying to manage all of these accounts, make sure all these people are happy, but at the same time, scramble around and try to not mess any orders up because Amazon's super stingy. If you mess up one little thing, they can just shut your entire company down.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
They have that power, right?
Very picky. They even have the power to, if they notice that your product is doing really well,
Mm-hmm.
they'll either block you off from selling a product or they'll make their own version and block you.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they do crazy stuff.
That sounds creepy.
Amazon can be pretty ruthless.
I guess that's how they make their bucks and trucks, since they have 50 million vehicles. Have you ever seen a line out on the highway or something, like after it's left a hub or something? It is crazy.
Yeah.
It's just, as far as the eye can see down the road, it's just like white vans or the gray vans or whatever it is, all leaving at the same time. It's kind of gross.
No, I've never seen that. That's crazy.
It's very robotic looking.
Yeah.
It's kind of like the future.
Yeah.
What it's going to be, just streamlined with.
I'm wondering if they're actually going to do the whole drone delivery thing or if they've started that.
Probably have. And I would imagine, or at least some trials. How would that work with like heavier stuff?
It would have to be lightweight stuff. But also, I was watching stuff on drones the other day. My stepdad got one for Christmas, and we just started kind of looking into it. They have drones now that like firefighters can use.
Really?
And they can use them to rescue people.
Just like pinpoint where they are?
Actually pick the people up. The drone, like they are drones, but they're about as big as the room that we're in.
Oh, holy moly.
And they can shoot. They hold like tons of water on there too, so they can shoot water onto the fire and fly around and stuff.
That's cool.
But they also mentioned people are making drones now that give Amazon the ability to do that.
Yeah.
Like specifically so that they could hold packages and drop them off. I don't know. Who knows if that's what they're used for yet, but companies have that in mind already. So
like the little toy machines where you pick up stuff.
Right.
Probably got like a claw grabber on the bottom of the drone.
Yep.
Yeah. In case you pick up or drop it off at the wrong place, which I just dealt with that the other day. Somebody dropped off. I think I told you that.
Yeah.
Dropped off the wrong package, and Amazon basically just says, keep it. We'll send out another one to the other person.
Yeah.
Seems so weird.
We make so much money, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Because, you think about it, it's basically not everyone's going to be honest if somebody gets a package at their door. Either they're going to be lazy or they're just going to say, fuck it, open it up and keep it,
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't want to do that at first. But they told me to keep it, so I did.
I don't blame you. It's not exactly
still weird though.
It's not exactly legal to be opening other people's
Exactly.
mail.
Yeah, I took screenshots of the conversation, everything, just to make sure I was covered. Because that was really weird. And it went through 2 different people to make sure that this is what you want me to do. Because I told them to pick it up, and they said they would, and they didn't. So I gave them a chance.
Well, you got some stuff that you wanted.
Yeah, it was really really weird. So you mentioned Utah. I know you're in town for the holidays.
Yep.
You still talking about moving down here at some point?
Yeah, I'd like to. Because music isn't a primary source of income yet.
Mm-hmm.
The main thing is me just try to get stuff sorted financially.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I'm in such a good position with my job and I've been there for almost 8 years now.
Wow.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So we've been talking about, I'm at the point that I know how to run this business pretty much on my own.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been talking about trying to move that to Dallas with me.
Expanding.
Yeah, because my stepdad, he has warehousing space.
Okay.
So there's a possibility that I could use half of it,
Nice.
or some of it at least. But it's not really simple moving a huge shipping company because there's a lot of money that goes into getting it started up. Like, not only do you have to have the space, but you have to get pallet racking, you have to have a forklift. There's like tons of money that goes into starting the business.
Yeah.
And then making sure the clients are able to get their stuff here, or me picking up new clients or whatever. So there's a lot of like unknowns at the moment.
Yeah. So as far as your income goes, I know music isn't a primary source of income, but do you do guitar lessons and stuff too to make a little money, or not so much?
Every once in a while. Everybody's their own worst critic, but when it comes to teaching, I have a hard time because I feel like I'm not giving people the value.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I haven't taught much, so I'm not super comfortable with it. But anybody I've ever taught seems to be really happy, and I give them guitar profiles and tabs afterwards of everything we've gone over, and even send them extra stuff that I think is really cool. And they usually want another lesson, so I guess I do a good enough job. But in my head, I'm like, man, did I give them the value for their money?
Yeah, I was talking about that with Bryce the other day when he was here. I'm self-taught in a lot of ways, so I don't want to teach someone the wrong way or ignore a poor technique because I don't notice it, because I'm just I don't know what I'm doing.
I mean, I tell people first thing like, hey, I don't know theory, so I can't do theory lessons, but I can teach you technique, and that's usually why people want to do lessons with me, is because they want me to fix their technique or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So usually I'll tell them to play something that they've been working on recently or whatever, and then I'll just be like, hey, okay, I can visually see what you're doing wrong and try to help them fix that. Yeah. And it's usually things that they don't even think about.
Right. That was a conversation we had too about vibrato. Mm-hmm. And I mentioned Wes, just that one thing, taking one lesson from him, asking him about vibrato. And he didn't have a specific thing that he did or worked on to improve or whatever. Mm-hmm. So he didn't have anything necessarily specific to suggest until he watched me play and pointed out that I'm using one finger a lot of times to bend, and he said, man, use all your fingers, just like grab it and give it hell, basically. So it was more of a mindset for me. It's not like I was afraid to grab down on the string. I didn't realize that I was doing that. Right. So just resting, a couple more fingers down on the same string really made a huge difference. Yeah. Now it feels completely different.
Were you just using your index finger before?
Oh, just whatever.
Oh, okay.
Whatever note that I landed on with whatever, finger, whether it be middle or ring finger or whatever. It was just one finger by itself trying to do all the work, and I could bring in a couple more to help out.
Yeah.
So,
man, it's crazy how long sometimes it takes people to work on that stuff and realize it. Like me, it took me forever. Yeah. And I started posting stuff online like before MySpace and Facebook, or even if either of those things were a thing. So really all there was like forums. Mm-hmm. And one of the main ones that I was on was the John Petrucci forums. And every time I would post something, people were like, man, your technique is awesome, but your phrasing sucks. Like, it's terrible. And at the time I didn't understand what phrasing was. Mm-hmm. And it took me a while until I watched a Steve Vai video, and he was like, you got to think about phrasing as in how people talk. How they phrase the things they're saying. Right. That's what gives somebody their identity. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you sound like a robot. Yeah. If you're just playing the notes, that's not enough. Yeah. And it took me forever to realize that. And once I did, that's what opened up a bunch of things. And I finally understood how important vibrato was.
Yeah. You have to focus on what you're actually doing, what you're trying to convey, what emotion you're trying to put through in this instrument. Yeah. And like you said, if it's robotic, you might as well be playing a, MIDI controller or something.
I think that's a huge thing a lot of beginners don't pick up on, because you see a lot of people on YouTube or Facebook or whatever, and it almost sounds like Guitar Pro in a way, or whatever, or MIDI, because they're not doing any phrasing whatsoever. Mm-hmm. They're just playing the notes.
Just hitting the notes.
No sliding in or out. There's no vibrato, and it's like, it sounds so weird. But when you're inexperienced and younger like that, you don't pick up on it.
Mm-hmm. That was what I mentioned to Bryce too, about not realizing, not paying attention to vibrato like whatsoever. It's just I was trying to hit notes, and I would slide, hammer on, and pull off and give stuff emotion, but I didn't realize how important vibrato was until I realized that all my favorite players had great vibrato. Yeah. And if I hear just a random song from somebody I would associate good vibrato with that guy knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
Just for whatever reason in my head, that just clicked to me.
Definitely.
And I never realized that in my own playing, that I never focused on it for the longest time.
Yeah.
So it was weird. I felt stupid, for not having picked that up.
Yeah.
And well, obviously all these good players know how to handle the guitar and hold it and control the string.
Yeah.
And I'm not paying attention to that.
Yeah, it's like how you give it a voice, you know. Imagine Brandon Ellis without the vibrato. You know?
With the elbow vibrato, just shaking the shit out of it.
Right.
That wouldn't be very good at all. When did you start playing? Like actually playing?
So I started actually playing when I was about 13.
Okay.
I kind of picked it up a couple of times when I was younger, and I think my mom had this really old classical.
Mm-hmm.
At the time I had no idea there was a difference between a classical or an acoustic. I always thought it was an acoustic, and it had like just a classical songbook in it, and it was all notation. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, no. I was super young, but I saw that and I was trying to teach myself. And I did like band stuff in middle school. I played clarinet actually. And so I knew how to read music.
Okay.
And back then, like I wanted to learn so bad how to play and read music that I taught myself how to do that on the clarinet before the teacher actually taught the class. I just figured it out on my own. I was like, all right, I got this.
Awesome.
So I know how to read music, but when it came to guitar, I was like, man, this is not the same.
Yeah.
Because there's so many octaves and notes in the same note in different places and things like that. So that was a complete turn off to me. And then I really, really started when I was 13. My dad got me a Squier Strat and like a little Fender practice amp from a pawn shop. He's like, all right, here you go, start playing. And what really, really got me started is my cousin literally had one of those How to Play Guitars for Dummies books.
That's great.
Yeah, and I actually started playing because my cousin played, and I thought it was really cool. And I was like, I want to do that. So he let me borrow the book, and again, it started with notation. And I'm like, I want to deal with this. And then it finally got to the chapter for tablature. And once I like put 2 and 2 together, that like, oh, each fret has a number, and it's telling you exactly what finger, and that was opening the floodgates, And then I went online and found websites, and then I discovered Guitar Pro, and I just became obsessed.
Yeah.
I wanted to learn everything. So that's when I really started playing.
Did it affect your schoolwork and stuff like that?
Quite a lot.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you get in trouble?
I wouldn't say in trouble. I never necessarily failed classes because of it.
Yeah.
But I was usually just barely passing. And that's because, my schedule, I'd wake up, get ready for school, play guitar until I had to go to school, then come home, and then do homework like 75% of the time. Yeah. Other times I didn't really. I was just like, oh, I want to play guitar, and then I played until I went to bed.
Did you have musician friends in school?
Yeah.
Or is it like outside of school that you met some people in music? Which would probably be different back then. You'd have to meet somebody at like Guitar Center, I guess.
Yeah. Luckily, the school that I went to had, one of the guys there, one of the seniors, convinced the staff to do a guitar club.
Nice.
Yeah, and I went to Marcus High School in, I guess, Flower Mound, Louisville area. So they started doing a guitar club when I was a sophomore, and that was like once a week or once every other week. And I ended up meeting a friend of mine named Eric, and he was like the only other metal guy there, and I was like super impressed with his playing and never really heard like the style of stuff he was doing. He was super into like Dimmu Borgir.
Okay.
And like death metal type stuff. Right. And he actually showed me Opeth. That was his favorite band, and he has like their logo tattooed on his back and stuff. Yeah. Like he was obsessed with Opeth, and he kind of opened my eyes to all that. But I met a lot of like my musician friends through that class, and then I got introduced to other people through those people. And so it was actually through school.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I met my best friend and first bandmate in church.
Yeah, really?
Forever ago. Yeah. Yeah, that was kind of interesting. We ended up, it was like a Halloween party that they had, or like a event or something. And I remember somebody was playing Master Puppets.
Okay.
And I had just only recently heard of Metallica. Like I got the Black Album handed to me by a cousin, and I was really into it. But, with no internet and stuff, I didn't really research past albums, or I didn't dig into anything like that, trying to find more music. I just thought it was a cool album,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And then I heard somebody blaring Master Puppets in that Halloween event, and I said, man, what is this? Who is this?
Yeah.
You know, I had no clue, because
Yeah.
I'm hearing Black Album Metallica, and then I hear this, you know, like thrashy, awesome stuff too.
Yeah.
It sounds similar, but and then my buddy Brent was there. I think he's the one that told me. He's like, it's Metallica. It's an older album, because he loved Metallica at the time. So that kind of opened the door to that a little more. And so that's where I met him, and we kind of started. We realized both of us played guitar, and kind of got together at that point. I think we both asked each other to be each other's rhythm guitar player.
Oh, okay.
You know, like we're both assuming that we're going to be the lead guitarists.
Yeah.
So that was pretty funny. You want to be my rhythm guitar player? No, you're going to be my rhythm guitar player. So that's how that started.
That's funny. I have a similar Metallica story. So before I was introduced to older Metallica, when I started playing, my knowledge of guitar playing was what I heard on the radio.
Yeah,
and at the time, it was like radio rock, you know, like, or I guess new metal, alternative rock stuff. You know, I liked Linkin Park, and then there was, you know, Green Day, and like all those types of bands that were really popular in the early 2000s. And then on the way home from school, a buddy of mine was like, hey, I know you like guitar, so you need to listen to this. So he put on One.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, I was like, okay, this song's pretty cool. And then I got to the heavier, you know, ending part, and I was like, oh my God, this is awesome. And then the guitar solo came, and I was like, I didn't know you could do that. Like, I didn't know. It's like, I did not know that was possible. And then I just, I became obsessed with Metallica, like literally became obsessed. They were my favorite band for the longest time. And I learned everything from Kill 'Em All, literally every song all the way up to the Black Album.
Yeah.
Knew how to play it all. And then,
awesome.
You know, from there I learned about Satriani and Petrucci and Vai, and from there it was just shred all the time.
Yeah. That's crazy, man. That's kind of pretty much the same upbringing that I had musically and guitar-wise. I started out with Metallica as far as like metal goes, you know, and then because I was jamming on like Bush and Green Day and Nirvana and stuff like that, you know, just strumming some power chords or whatever. Right. And I got handed a Megadeth CD at some point, and I thought that they just were Metallica ripoffs. I was just very, very naive, I guess, and just kind of like, well, Metallica's my favorite band. These guys aren't better than Metallica. Right. And I didn't really give it a chance, and I kind of hate myself for doing that, because I didn't listen to them for the longest time. And I think that I would have probably eventually steered more towards Marty Friedman's lead capabilities rather than Kirk. Yeah. And I could have probably been a little bit more obsessed with lead playing and style versus just being able to throw some lead notes over something and not really care. Right. Not that he didn't care, but you know, it sounds repetitive. He does a lot of the pentatonic, just same stuff. Yeah. I mean, it is what it is. I'm so used to hearing it that I think, yep, that's Metallica. But Master Puppets is iconic. It's like one of the anybody that likes metal will usually agree that it's one of the best metal albums of all time. Mm-hmm. Kirk's playing, to me, peaked on that as far as writing goes, but now I listen back to it and I think the same thing. I'm like, man, it's cool, but it's lost that magic that it had to me when I was younger, because now I know so much more about playing and I've learned so much more stuff. But it's like, I look back at it now and it's like, man, it's all pentatonic. It's just the same. It's the same stuff, but it had more style at least. It seemed like it had more life to it. Now it's just like autopilot. It sounds like the last several albums, just box shapes, pentatonic stuff. Yeah, I mean, Black Album I thought was great. There was a lot more feel and emotion to that. You know, it still played the same kind of stuff, but that had a lot know emotion to me. It did, for sure. You know, when people discredit the Black Album, that's where have you listened to it? Do you know anything about music? I mean, there's so much there and so much that went into that you would have to have some sort of respect, I think, for what went into the production on that. 'Cause it's so awesome. Yeah. Like, I don't know if you've heard the surround sound version. I haven't, no. That is so cool. Yeah. To hear all the little bitty things that are in there that you probably don't hear normally, you know, in just a regular stereo system. I didn't even know they made one. Yeah. Yeah, my buddy Brent had that. He showed me that forever ago. I think cool. They did that with Queen, too. I actually used to have a special edition of Ghost Reveries that was in 5.1. Awesome. Yeah. Never got to listen to it. I never had a surround sound system until like literally a couple months ago. Oh, wow. So like I know I have it somewhere, but it's like buried where all my CDs are. I don't know where that. Yeah. Man, I think I still have a setup here. I used to have like 3 different surround sound setups. You know, one in the studio, one in the living room, one in the bedroom.
Right.
But that's a little excessive. Not necessary anymore. But yeah, it's really cool to hear those little bits of ear candy. You know, whether it's just like a little tiny vocal harmony or a weird sound that they put in there.
Have you ever seen that making of DVD?
Oh yeah, yeah.
I've watched that a million times. It's awesome. If you guys haven't seen that, you need to. It's a year and a half in the life or something like that.
Yeah, year and a half making of the Black Album or whatever.
Yeah, the first half is the whole making of the album, and then the second half is like the whole touring cycle.
Yeah.
It's awesome. But I love how when they're doing the shotgun sounds in there and doing all the little weird things, and I bet in the 5.1 mix you can hear a lot of all that stuff.
That was God That Failed?
Is that what it was? Oh, you're right. Yep.
Yeah, that's really cool. Yeah, and seeing, what was it, Sad But True, where he had that nasty, just giant that's all he did.
Yep.
It had to have been like a baritone or something.
Yeah, but it's like shaking the room.
Yeah, yeah. Man, I haven't seen that in such a long time. I recommended that to my bandmates, you know, like, cause some of them haven't seen it. Like, man, I feel like if you're going to be in a band, you have to see that.
Yeah,
you need
it's
to know.
Such a good movie.
Even though like it's not probably anything like what happens nowadays, you know, with production of something, but that's what went into that album is what right. And that's I guess that's what I mean when I am just surprised when people say, yeah, that album sucks. That's a fucking terrible album.
There's a reason it's still one of the best-selling albums currently.
Yeah.
You know, it's always on rotation.
And what was it? Wasn't it 3 out of 4 were divorced in that process? I think
so. Yeah.
But
they were in the studio for over a year or something like that.
That is nuts, man.
Yeah.
I can't imagine the amount of money that went into that. But I mean, they're still making money off of it.
It was millions, I'm sure.
So your musical stuff, are you just pretty much in Kill the Lights?
Technically.
That's the main gig?
Is the main gig now. Yeah. John from Threat Signal, he's got his own thing now, a Monolith, with a couple of guys from Devin Townsend Band and Strapping Young Lad.
Nice.
I think they have new stuff coming out pretty soon. They just announced a tour. It's a new band. So John's focused on that, so Threat Signal's kind of on the back burner. Loomis is still super busy with Arch Enemy, even though I know he's been writing solo stuff when he has the time.
Yeah.
Maytal's doing her own thing. So yeah, Kill the Lights is, there's not enough announced just yet. Very, very soon, but there's been a lot going on behind the scenes for the past year.
Good. That's cool.
Yeah.
That was the first question I had was, is there an update on album release, or can you talk about that?
I can't give any specifics, but there'll be a lot of info released soon.
Cool.
And soon actually means soon. It's not like, soon does not mean 6 months from now.
Like later today.
Right.
So you don't have that would include tours and stuff, I guess. Do you have anything that you could even briefly talk about, or is that going to be we need to save that for the announcement?
There are tour ideas. They were hoping to have a tour announcement for us when the label announced the band.
Yeah.
And by the way, for people that already do know, yeah, we have announced the band, but at the time we weren't signed. So the label wants to do like an official announcement so that, they put our video that we already did on their YouTube channel, and they, mention stuff on Facebook and stuff like that. But they wanted to have a tour announced when they announced the band, but I don't know if that's going to happen.
Okay.
We do have stuff already solidified for the summer. Not necessarily tours, but shows.
Okay. Cool.
It sucks. I can't really say much, but it's like there's going to be a bunch of stuff released pretty soon, and people are going to, new music and stuff like that. So
how many people are in this band?
Right now, it's currently 4. We do not have a bass player.
Oh.
Yeah.
You just program that.
That's
what everybody does.
I actually played like 90% of the bass on the album.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You can't do both, man.
No, we're looking for a bassist that I guess is also kind of primarily a vocalist.
Okay.
Yeah, somebody that can sing and scream.
Okay. More backing
stuff, but
could take the lead.
Right, somebody that's skilled at vocals as well.
Okay. Where are all these people located?
I feel bad because I can't remember ever.
It's like spread out everywhere, I guess.
It's everywhere. So
that's so cool.
For people not familiar with the band, Moose, our drummer, he was in Bullet for My Valentine.
Okay.
And he was a founding member, and he was up in the band. He was in the band up until like 2 years ago. He lives in Wales, so he's pretty far.
Yeah.
Our other guitar player, Jordan, he was in a band called Still Remains,
Okay.
They were a Roadrunner band back in the day. He lives in Michigan. I don't know where. I know he lives in Michigan. And then our vocalist, James, he was in a band called Throw the Fight. It's another place that snows a lot.
Somewhere in the U.S., though?
Yeah. So 3 of us in the U.S. and 1 in the U.K.
Okay. Do you guys, like, chit-chat?
All the time.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so we use, do you know what Slack is?
Slack? No.
Slack. It's kind of like WhatsApp,
Okay.
but it's more business focused. So you can sort things by like what topic of conversation.
Okay, but it's for mostly conversing.
Yeah,
not
it
like
is.
a task manager kind of thing.
No, so we've got our manager in there, and then all the guys in the band,
okay.
and then we have like visual, and there's mixing and writing and general.
Okay.
And so it's so that it's not like one conversation page that's just jumbled up with a bunch of stuff. It's
bunch
all
of
sorted.
memes and shit.
Right.
That's actually a really good idea.
We have a non-band section where that's
perfect. So if you want to spend your time sending memes, then you go
Slack.
You go over there.
Yeah. So that constantly. And our manager is awesome. He even, he works on the weekends, so we'll get updates. Usually people in the music business just are like, all right, see ya. On Friday, they're out of there and don't respond until Monday.
Okay.
Yeah.
That seems like a full-time gig. Not to diss anybody that doesn't, think that it's a 24/7 gig, but it seems like it would be. I don't see music being a Monday through Friday thing.
No, but I mean, I guess people that have more of the corporate side of things view it as a day job because that's what they do every single day.
Sure.
So they take the weekend off and don't reply to emails until Monday.
I guess that's
and
okay.
that can be frustrating. You have something important you want to talk about and you send it Friday and it's like, well, now I got to wait 2 days and I don't know what they're going to say.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a plumbing superintendent. So if I get an email Sunday afternoon, I'm still probably going to answer and respond to it and take care of it, not just leave it there, and that's just plumbing.
Yeah.
So it seems a little weird. So speaking of guitar and bands and touring and all that stuff, I remember that I started following you. I think it was on YouTube first, forever ago, before Facebook and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. You've already mentioned Loomis, but I think the first time that I saw you was at his solo tour. Or whatever, I think.
That one with soil work.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that was Anoop.
Yeah, Anoop was on drums. Yep.
Yeah, that was the first time when I saw him. I thought he was a Mexican dude because I couldn't see him very well. And I had no idea who he was.
He does have brown skin.
Right. I don't know if that made me racist. I just could not see him. The lights, I don't remember the lights being on him very much.
Yeah, man, that guy's incredible.
Oh, yeah, yeah. But I think I made the connection probably years after that, that it was him.
Yeah.
And I saw him play drums, and I thought, why does he look so familiar? And then I just randomly connected it. I think I looked in his, maybe his Wikipedia or some crap, and it said Loomis on there.
Yeah.
I thought, oh my God, that's that dude.
Yeah.
That was when you had the Schecter with the white EMG pickups.
Yep.
I don't know why I just specifically remembered that detail.
Well, I don't think many people have white EMGs.
Yeah.
And it was a cool combination for that guitar. It was like the red wine Loomis with the maple fretboard and then white pickups.
Yeah.
Like super contrasty.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Do you recall anything remarkable or memorable from that tour specifically, besides playing with the best guitar player in
I know.
metal?
I was about to say the cool thing is just that I got the opportunity to
just look over and see him play.
Yeah, man, it's funny how that opportunity came up. I mean, I'll get back to the stuff on tour, but it's cool because I met those guys while I was touring with Threat Signal, and we got to do like a week or so of shows with Nevermore, and I was just like, man, huge fanboy moment,
awesome.
because I grew up listening to them through high school, and Loomis was one of my favorite guitar players.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to tour with them, and I got talking with them, and I think it was after that tour, they were like doing a guitar player search. I was talking to their bassist, Jim, and he recommended me. Wow. And I was like the number 2 spot to be the guitar player in Nevermore.
That is awesome. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That is cool.
And the guy that got it, his name's Attila.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't remember where he's from. Somewhere over in like Eastern Europe, I think. And I almost got the gig because they were getting ready to do a tour and they were having visa problems with him. And they like had me on speed dial. They're like, we're gonna let you know, man. Like, there's a possibility you're gonna have to be the guitar player on this tour. And then he got it, like, saved it at the last second.
Damn it!
Like, good for dude. He's an awesome guy. Very, very nice dude. Really good guitar player. But inside I was like, oh man, almost got to be in one of my favorite bands. But that's how I got to know Loomis.
Mm-hmm.
And then he just randomly hit me up on Facebook, and he's like, hey man, what are you up to? Are you busy? I was like, nah, I'm not really doing anything with Threat Signal. And he's like, well, I have this show coming up at NAMM. He was going to play the Schechter show at the Grove.
Yeah.
And this was like 3 weeks prior to that. And he's like, you think you'd be interested in playing that show with me and playing rhythm guitar? And I was like, of course,
Nah, man.
Nah, dude, I'll pass.
Who wants to do that?
So he, it was like a headline set list. He sent me a set list of songs and was like, here, learn these. And we didn't rehearse. That was like his test. So showed up to that show and had to play.
That's some trust too, man.
Yeah, I mean, I got lucky. He made like playthrough videos of my parts.
Awesome. Yeah.
So I got
very helpful.
So I got to learn everything, how it's actually played, and he slowed down the parts in the video, the really really technical
that makes
parts.
A huge difference.
Yeah. So did that show, and then he asked me to do that tour, and that's how that started. But
that was awesome.
Yeah. But moments on tour, there's like, man, that tour was 2 months long and had 1 day off each month.
Really?
Yeah, just one.
Holy shit!
2 days off the entire tour.
I didn't realize it was that many dates.
Yeah, I have the tour laminate somewhere, and it's just like the dates are so tiny on there that you can't read them.
Or it would have to be a gigantic laminate.
Right. So yeah, 2 months straight, 1 day off each month. It was brutal. But I don't remember anything in particular. Like, there were a couple like funny moments.
Mm-hmm.
Like there was one time we were super tired after a show. We packed up. We leave the venue at like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning,
mm-hmm.
and we got a big drive. But we're like, all right, let's get outside of the city. Let's find a hotel. So we go to this one hotel. It's like a no-name place, but like everybody's tired. We're like, dude, let's just stop. So we go in there. Our tour manager spends what feels like an eternity getting 2 rooms.
Mm-hmm.
So a couple of guys split off to go to one room. We go to ours, and we go to open the door, and it's latched. And we're like, what the hell? So then somebody peeks their head around, and there's just like Red Bull cans all over the floor and like random shit everywhere. And we look in the bed, and there's somebody like staring at the door, like not saying a word.
Right.
So we're like, oh, sorry. So we close the door. The other guys come back, and they're like, was there somebody in your room? So they had the same thing. So we go back to the front office.
Yeah.
Right. We're like, look, there were people in both of our rooms. We just want to get empty rooms and go to bed. So they're like, all right, sorry, we'll switch out your rooms. We all go to this next room. We're like, all right, let's just see if these are legit. We open the door. This dude didn't latch it, but we go in the door, and the guy instantly sits up in his bed and goes, what the fuck? Like he's woken out of his sleep.
Yeah. What the fuck? Good Lord.
We shut the door really quick.
Scary.
Yeah, and we
for both people, It
happened
both sides.
three times in a row. So then we just bail. And
That's awesome management.
We're like, man, we're just going to start driving again. It was our tour manager,
That is freaking weird.
Yeah. Actually, did you ever meet Donnie?
Yes.
He tour managed for Tesseract for a long time?
Yeah.
Donnie was our tour manager.
Nice.
Yeah.
I've just slapped hands with him and hear his slang.
But there's a lot of slang going on.
I haven't talked with him much.
Gotcha.
No. Yeah, that's what Chantel told me. I think she's talked to him a few times too.
Yeah.
He mentioned he's always got a new word or something next time she sees him.
I think the actual word for that tour was word.
Word. Let's get a hotel. Word.
Yeah.
Just to get more guitar stuff out of the way, how much do you currently play a day? Or at least, what do you aim for?
I don't even really have a goal anymore. I don't play a lot during the week. So Utah is extremely expensive. I don't really make enough to even afford to get my own place.
Mm-hmm.
1-bedroom apartments after fees and everything are like $1,400 a month.
Lordy.
Yeah. And like a cheap house in Salt Lake is about $250,000. And it's nothing special at all. So I don't make enough to get my own place. So what I do is I rent a room at somebody's house.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like half of a mortgage payment in its own.
Right.
So what I'm getting at is that it sucks because the guy that owns the house doesn't really like me doing music stuff there.
Damn it.
So I keep all of my studio stuff at work.
Okay.
You know, I'm fortunate enough to have a boss that's a musician himself, so he doesn't care at all. So sometimes I play after work, but it sucks because usually, you know, after working like 8 to 5, the last thing I'm thinking about is staying at work and playing guitar.
Of course.
I just want to go home.
Yeah.
So usually I'll get a couple of hours in throughout the week.
Wow.
The entire week.
That sounds crazy. That sounds like me.
Yeah. But it's weekends where I put in all the work, you know, so both Saturday and Sunday, I will be at the warehouse and, you know, I'll wake up in the morning, go grab coffee, get some breakfast, take it there, hang out for a minute, and then I'll play guitar like all day long.
Wow. That's some discipline though, for sure.
Yeah.
That's kind of like not sleeping very well during the week and then just trying to sleep all weekend to make up for it, even though that's not a real thing.
I stay on my weekly sleep schedule, even through the weekend.
Okay.
Like I have alarms set Saturday and Sunday. I'm up at 7 on Saturday and Sunday.
Nice.
And I feel like an old guy because it's like I can barely stay up past 11.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like struggling to stay awake past 11 o'clock.
I have a problem. I can't go to bed early. I can't. I mean, whenever I want to go to the gym and do, I have to go in the morning.
Yeah.
I can't do it when I get home from work. I don't want to go. It's too crowded. I want to be home. So I have to sacrifice some sleep or go to bed earlier and get there early, but I can never go to bed early. I'm always, Chantel stays up kind of late, or I've just got stuff that I want to do or I'm working on, and time just freaking flies by. So before you know it, it's 11 o'clock. And if I want to go to the gym, I get up at 3.
Yeah.
So that doesn't leave very much time for sleep.
Right.
Kind of sucks.
Yeah, I know you've told me about your 15-minute naps or whatever.
Yeah. If I can get some naps throughout the day, at least 2, 10 to 15-minute naps, I'm in much better shape.
I can't do that. Like I'm terrible at a lot of time I'm terrible at like actually falling asleep. Like it feels like it takes me a while to actually fall asleep. But I'm always, like I said, I'm always tired, really tired by like 11 or so.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I can do the 15-minute nap thing. Because it's like I feel like I'd spend about 10 minutes of that 15 minutes trying to fall asleep.
That would factor in there for sure if you can't fall asleep. For some reason, I guess it's when I know that I'm exhausted. I need to get some sort of sleep.
Yeah.
If I only got 3 hours of sleep or whatever, overnight, I'll get to a point, we have a 9 o'clock break and then a 15-minute break, and then 12 o'clock we'll take lunch, 30 to 40 minutes. And sometimes at break, in that 15 minutes, I'll go out to my truck and set an alarm for 15 minutes. And there has been countless times that I'll wake up before 10 minutes thinking that I overslept.
Yeah.
And I feel awesome. Just wake up like, oh my God, shit, my alarm didn't go off. Yeah. No, there's still 5 minutes left. And, I can't go back to sleep at that point. I'm like alert. I'm ready to go.
Right.
So it's really weird how if I couldn't fall asleep fast, and that obviously wouldn't work, but for some reason, if I get to that point where I know I am tired, or I know that I have this window that I can go take a nap, it's like my body just knows, yep, it's time, make it happen.
I think my issue is that I have anxiety problems. So if I know I have 15 minutes to sleep, my body is going to be like freaking out, being like, "Oh, you only have 15 minutes."
You're gonna oversleep.
Like, not even that. It's just like the fact that I know that's not very much time.
Okay.
Like, I'm the kind of person where if let's say I wake up 15 minutes before my alarm is supposed to go off for any reason, my brain won't let me go back to sleep because it's like I'm constantly thinking about how I only have 15 minutes left.
Yeah, I've had that for sure.
That's me all the time though.
Oh my God. That's not very fun.
So if I get up within like half an hour of when my alarm is supposed to go off, I just get up.
Yeah.
Because I know my brain's not going to let me go back to sleep.
Stupid brain.
Yeah. I think that's part of the problem, is that I have a hard time turning it off.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how I used to be too. You need to meditate.
Yeah.
That's what changed my life.
I need to look into that.
Yeah, definitely. I think I have that on here at some point to ask you about that.
Okay.
But yeah, if you don't know anything about it, which you just said you don't, I would suggest looking into that for sure.
I've looked into it before, but it's never something that I've like really, really looked into and tried to study.
Yeah. I
'Cause
would,
I know-
I would suggest just doing a guided meditation just for like 5 to 10 minutes.
Because I know it's a skill. Like it
Yeah.
takes a long time to develop the skill to be able to do it easily.
Yeah. I mean, you could technically do it for months, every day for months, and still just be completely frustrated because you haven't got it.
Because you're not doing
But-
it right.
Yeah. It's really weird. Once you understand or realize that you can do it, I think it's harder for you not to be able to. It's not going to be a perfect meditation every single time.
Right.
But you're able to get into it faster,
Mhm.
into that mindset of just forgetting everything for as long as you possibly can and just noticing all the stuff that comes into your head, just random, whatever, anything that pops into your head.
Right.
Oh, I've got to do that tomorrow. Where did that even come from?
Right.
Who just said that in my head?
Yeah.
And sometimes it'll be something that makes you upset or makes you worry or, not, oh, I'm going to do that tomorrow. It's, oh shit, I have to do that tomorrow.
Mhm.
And then you start freaking yourself out.
Right.
Even though it's not even something that you have to worry about. It's just, you're just working yourself up for no reason.
Right.
But it's noticing those things and being able to recognize them as just a thought in your head. There's nothing else that it is. You just look at it for what it is, which is just words in your head,
Yeah.
and that's it.
Well,
You don't give it any more physical meaning to give your body a physical effect
Right.
from it, like anxiety attack or something.
Mhm.
Not to say that you're going to cure that, but it would really help with that, where you don't get overwhelmed, or even if you do get overwhelmed, it's not going to last very long because you know how to suppress it
Yeah.
as quick as possible, which is that's part of the practice is just trying to lasso those shitty feelings, either dwelling on something that just happened or happened in the past or worrying about future when you could just be in the moment and mostly content. Not that you're
Yeah.
ignoring anything, but you're not focusing on past or future
Mhm.
because the past has already happened and the future has yet to happen.
Right.
There's no guarantee, so
Yeah.
why worry about it?
Yeah. Yeah. I did a meet and greet with Steve Vai a couple of years ago. He was doing his Passion and Warfare anniversary tour.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And one of the questions what somebody asked him was like, how are you so calm? Like, how do you seem like you're so together?
Mm-hmm.
And he recommended a couple of books, but one of the things he said is pretty much exactly what you just said, but like a non-meditative form of it.
Yeah.
Just realizing things. He was like, you need to realize that thoughts are just thoughts and it doesn't reflect anything on you.
Mm-hmm.
You can't control what you think. It's whatever appears in your head. You have to like analyze that
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes brush it off or even laugh at it and be like, oh, that was weird.
Yeah.
For the example is kind of, I guess, somewhat extreme, but he's like, I guarantee you everybody here has had this thought before and it means absolutely nothing. Let's say you're driving down the road and you see a barrier on the side of the road or you see two people walking on the side of the road and your brain's kind of like, oh, what if I just turned into that person? Or what if I just turned into that guardrail?
Yeah.
And he's like, I guarantee you everybody in this room has had that thought at some point. And he's like, that doesn't mean you're a bad person. That doesn't mean you're crazy. It's just your brain being weird. And
Yeah.
that's that you have to recognize that's what thoughts are.
It's like some sort of outside interference that comes through, like a different frequency that you have no control over.
Right.
You're not the author of your thoughts.
No.
That's when you make that realization. That's pretty big too.
Yeah, so that's what he was trying to explain. He recommended a couple books. I'd have to remember what they are,
Mhm.
but that was like pretty much what you were just saying is that you have to get control of your thoughts and not let them bug you too much.
That's just general mindfulness.
Yeah.
Just being aware of what's going on. That's just the same for me. We talked about, the other night about being angry about stuff. I can't stop myself from getting angry, but I can stop myself from continuing to stay angry.
Right.
And that's where things get worse,
Yeah.
Like that initial reaction. I could get pissed off and just, I don't know, make loud noises or whatever and seem like I'm about to lose my shit, but I've gotten to the point where 30 seconds later I'm fine.
Yeah, because
I'm
you gotta
okay.
be able to look at it and be like, all right, this is dumb that I'm acting this way.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. It's a weird feeling because I've had that sometimes where it's almost like an addiction where you're angry and then you realize that it's kind of unnecessary, but it's like an itch.
Yeah.
something makes you want to continue to be that way, or like, no, fuck that, I'm mad.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of selfish.
Yeah.
You know, it's just understand why I'm mad, but you don't have to stay that way.
Yeah.
It's okay to get mad, but why stay that way?
Yeah.
There's no reason to. Sam Harris is the one that, listening to him on Joe Rogan's podcast got me into listening to Sam Harris's podcast, which got me to read his book, which is about meditation, and that's pretty much how I got into it.
Okay.
And he just has I like his views on that. He has an app also where he does guided meditations, and he'll talk
cool.
to he'll interview people about meditation, mindfulness, and all that kind of stuff. Different people all over the world. So I would definitely recommend his stuff. You kind of missed out on it, but the app that he had is free until the end of the year.
Oh no.
Yeah, he promoted that during Christmas, I think, because it can be kind of expensive.
Well, it's still the
That's really-
31st.
Yeah, if you want to go meditate in the bathroom.
Yeah. Oh, you mean it's like a timed exclusive thing?
Yeah.
I thought you
Once it
meant
hits-
like you didn't have to purchase it.
No.
I mean, like it's free up until...
Right.
Yeah, okay.
So in 2020 it'll.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
But that was a cool promotion because it's kind of pricey.
Yeah.
But I mean, if it gets you to a better mind space and you're happier in general, and you can live your life in a more positive way,
Yeah.
you can't put a price on that. That was the difference between me now and me years ago. When someone asked me how I'm doing, I always had a negative response. Well, actually this happened. Why do I have to do that?
Yeah.
It's like, no, everything's good. Look at the general average of everything. Everything's good. I'm in a good position. Shit happens, but I don't need to concentrate on the negative shit that has happened.
Yeah.
I'm alive.
Yeah.
Got a house.
Man, people ask me that, and I always just say, I'm doing pretty good, pretty well. But that's it, because like my life's pretty boring. It's work and me playing guitar, and that's about it.
Yeah. So that's okay.
Nothing's wrong. It's just not eventful.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and some people would say, everything's fantastic. Like, I get jealous of some people that are even more, man, I am great. Everything is wonderful.
Yeah.
Like, really? Then they'll start talking about something negative, or, well, I mean, this happened and this happened, but no, everything else is good.
Yeah.
I can get jealous of that a little bit. Someone has super gung-ho response, whereas I'm just good.
Yeah. I mean, I've worked pretty hard over the past couple of years to get rid of negativity and get rid of the people that cause the negativity.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty fortunate at the moment to not have to deal with any drama.
That's good.
Really. So anything bad that happens in my life is usually, and I say bad, it's usually like work related. Something that's just frustrating.
Yeah.
But other than
stressful.
that, yeah. But other than that, everything's great.
That's good. That's good to hear.
Yeah.
I was going to ask, do you have any players recently that you've found, or like this year that you've discovered or just gotten into, guitar players, or really any musicians?
Steven Taranto.
Yeah.
The guy's a monster.
He's the first one on my list here. I put 2 people.
Monster.
I'm sorry about all the dogs barking. I can't control these idiots.
It's quiet. Mateus Asato? Is that how you say his name?
Is that the dude that plays with his fingers? Like with his right hand, like long fingernails? What is his name?
I did find a
thinking
dude
of
recently
somebody
that
else.
plays everything with his fingers, and he has a cover of like Cliffs of Dover,
Yeah, yeah.
and he did
His-
Fives by
his-
Guthrie,
Yes.
and he does everything finger picked,
Yeah.
and it's like the cleanest sounding
It is
shredding I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, I did not think it was real the first time I heard it. Just watching him, like, you can't do that.
I found out about that guy a couple weeks ago, but that's not. It's got to be Mateus Asato. I feel like I'm mispronouncing his name, and I don't want to butcher it. I'm looking it up. It is Mateus Asato. Super tasty guitar playing. He's one of those guys that he has videos of him playing like shreddy stuff, and he's just unbelievable at it. But in his videos, he never does it. Like 99% of his videos, it's just like, it's all melodic playing, but really, really nice stuff.
Awesome.
Man, there's just, I don't know about new players because I'm watching dudes like Rick Graham still. You know, like every video he puts out blows my mind.
Yeah. That one video where he starts at like the first fret on the
Goes
top string.
all the
it's
way
like,
to the.
Well, I've probably watched that thing 50 times. What in the world is he doing?
He's named that the what the fuck lick.
God.
Because that's what everybody says when they see it the first time.
Like, what? How do you even do that?
It's all economy picking.
Yeah. That is
Which I am
that's something
terrible at.
There's one of my friends was looking for some lessons, and that's kind of my first or my most recent dive into trying to help somebody.
Mhm.
And I went over picking positions since I've changed mine over the past couple of years,
Mhm.
and I recommended that for him because I think he was picking kind of the same way with the pick more out from your palm, and then instead of like tucking it back in
Mhm.
towards your palm and closing
more
your
like-
fist. Yeah, mine was more like all fingers all the way out
Gotcha.
playing, and now it's more of a closed fist.
I used to do that because that's how Kirk Hammett played, and
Right.
I was like trying to copy his playing style, and that's how I played for years.
Yeah.
Then I had a Skype lesson with Jason Richardson probably
Mhm.
3 years ago, and that was one of the first things. He's like, dude, you got to fix that.
You gotta stop that.
Yeah. It's like, dude, curl your fingers in, make a fist, not so that it's like, not like you're clenching your fist, but roll all your fingers in and just keep it that way.
Yeah, that was really hard to me for the picking position for me. Moving it from fingers out, like I can't describe it for people that are not watching, but it took me a while to close in my pointer holding the pick,
Mhm.
getting just that in a different position,
Gotcha.
where it was not pointed out like you're almost like you're making the OK sign
Yeah.
instead of curling it into your palm. But once I got that down with my pointer and my thumb, then I had to work on the middle ring and pinky, getting those closed into the fist.
Yeah.
So it was fingers wide out, just flopping in the
Yeah.
wind. And then eventually, like over the past 2 years, it's just slowly kind of creeping its way in. I think I've almost got it now where it's more of a closed fist.
Yeah.
But I was trying to get this guy, I said, as you're retraining yourself, why don't you start looking into economy picking? Because I wish I would have done that.
Yeah.
That was a chance for me to kind of get into that too. So
Mhm.
I made a couple of little videos about that, and I think that'll be helpful. I would recommend that to anybody, especially if you're either just learning or retraining yourself somehow.
Mhm.
I would definitely start looking into economy picking. It would save so much
Yeah.
effort, and just watch Rick Graham, and that'll be an example of what your potentials could be.
It sucks because I feel like every time I see something cool recently and I try to learn it, it's something that's economy picked.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I find it so cool, is because it's something that you generally can't do with alternate picking.
Mm-hmm.
Like a couple weeks ago, I wanted to learn how Eric Johnson did those really crazy descending pentatonic licks,
Mm-hmm.
and he just goes through them super fast, but you have to economy pick them.
Yeah,
That's like the secret
to get
it.
that clean sound.
And I was like trying to find a way to cheat around doing it.
Yeah.
And it's like, instead of doing box pentatonics like he does, I was having to do like really wide pentatonic
Mhm.
licks,
Yeah.
and it works. But it's like you have to do everything this weird roundabout way instead of just economy picking.
Yeah, that kind of sucks. Because the sound is not the same at all.
No.
That'd be the same as like legato versus picking every note,
Right.
difference in sound. Okay, moving on, since we've spent so much time on guitar and music.
Okay.
You're more into cars and such
Yeah.
now, which you haven't been always, right?
Yeah, but not as near as much as I have been in the past, probably 4 years.
Mm-hmm. Is there anything that got you into it more specifically?
Yeah. When I got my first, I guess, sports car,
Mm-hmm.
and it just kind of clicked with me. I was like, oh, I can do whatever I want with this. And then I started looking into modding the car that I had, and just realized that there's this huge world of
Performance.
stuff, yeah,
upgrades?
performance stuff, things you can do to it, and it's not like crazy expensive,
Yeah.
and it's fun, and I like the idea that you can make your car into whatever you want it to be,
Sure.
your own individual thing. And my stepdad was very, very into cars. He was a mechanic, extremely good at it, so we always had cars in and out of our garage at the house, and I was
Right.
always helping him fix stuff. And I've been a gamer since I was probably like 3 years old, and
Yeah.
back in the day I'd play Gran Turismo and all these racing games, so I've always been into cars. But me being really, really into cars is like a recent thing.
More recent.
Yeah.
Have you ever had or ridden a motorcycle?
I never rode it.
Really?
Yeah, so when I was younger, I really wanted a dirt bike.
Yeah.
Really, really wanted it. And my stepdad found one, but it wasn't running. But he had a point behind that. He was like, I want you to learn how to fix it.
Oh, okay.
So the intention was good,
Yeah.
but it never got fixed.
Right.
It just sat there and rusted under a tree, and
Damn
then finally
it.
somebody bought it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I had that at one point, and I wanted to fix it up and learn to ride it, but never did.
Yeah.
And I got interested in like street bikes a couple of years ago, but the more people I talked to about it, they were like, man, that's like a death wish.
Yeah.
You know, saying that you like fear for your life every time you go on the street.
I mean, nowadays on any motorcycle, but
Yeah.
you know, those they're all dangerous, but at least if you're on a sports bike, most likely you're going to be all with, you know, your leathers and everything. So
Yeah.
you're more prepared versus like how I used to roll around in my motorcycle with shorts and sandals.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit.
Oh.
just cruising around, man.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't like to get on the highway or anything like that. As much as possible, I would just go back roads for the most part. Because I had some some instances where I ran, you know, almost had an accident or something, which is really scary because there's nothing there to protect you. I mean,
Right.
you're open for disaster every turn, every intersection. So
Yeah.
my dad had one, and he didn't keep it for very long because the insurance was ridiculous, and I think he just wanted more of a cruiser anyway.
Yeah.
But he never had one, maybe, so he decided to get one at one point. It's a Honda, I forgot what it was, CBR, something like that. But before he took it back or was going to sell it or whatever, he had told me to go, hey, just go give it a run down the road, see what you think. No, man, that's not for me.
Is it like a CBR? What would be like a 600 or something like that? Like the mid-tier one?
Because I can't remember what it was.
The lower ones are usually like a 250.
Or was it a VFR?
Well, there's a CBR.
Yeah, I know that one, but I think he actually had the VFR. I might be wrong.
The CBR goes all the way up to like 1,000 or 1,200 or something.
I'm not sure what it was. I know that it was fairly large, like as far as me getting up on it.
Yeah.
It was, you know, my toes are touching. You know,
Right.
I have fairly long legs, so I mean, it must have been pretty higher up. But yeah, I actually drove that by my old high school because I had graduated, I guess, a year prior to that, and seeing all the kids out there, and, you know, I'm on this bike, and at the red light, it turned green. I didn't just like give it everything. I was just kind of like, yeah, boom, just barely, you know, and I thought I was going to fall off, like fly backwards because of just how much force that it had. And that scared the shit out of me. I mean, everything was fine. I took it, you know, when I sped around the corner and, you know, took advantage of having a nice fast bike to play with for a minute. But I realized that could be really dangerous, you know, if I'm not paying attention or if I'm not thinking properly, or I don't know, upset, driving angry.
Man, those higher powered bikes go literally faster than you can really think.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
And they're just gone in a second. Less than a second.
Yes, you got to be really careful.
Yeah. I don't think if I got something at this point, it would have to be a dirt bike.
Yeah.
I don't want to be on the road with people. I don't want to be on the road with people in my truck.
Yeah.
Kind of upsets me more than anything because no one is paying attention to what they're doing. And it's bad. There's so many wrong way accidents.
Yeah.
Like in the past year or two, it seems like there's almost every month there's a report of somebody on the highway going the wrong way, killed 2 people, you know, but of course they survive. Not that I want anyone to die, but
right.
Fuck,
Pay attention.
That's going to be more of a alcohol or drug issue instead of your phone, but the phone is bad enough.
Right.
You know, that's the other thing that I see at red lights constantly is
people on their phone.
Yeah, but the light turns green. Okay, let's go, guys.
Yeah.
Jesus, on both sides of the road. No one goes.
Yeah, when someone's delayed from going from a green light, you know what they're doing.
Yeah.
It's like,
I mean,
come on.
People look at maps. I get it. It's not just playing around, but still, you got to pay attention to what the hell you're doing.
When I'm doing maps, I have my phone in the cup holder so that, like, you know, I have the volume up so that I can hear it, and if I just need to glance over at it for a quick second, I do.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really want to get to the point where I have to pull over to do something.
No.
But if that's what it takes, that's probably what you should do, is pull over to a safe spot and look up what you need to look up, even though that sucks to have to do, you know, especially if you're on the highway. But, I mean, shit, dude, it's better than not paying attention for 5 seconds and then looking up and then there's cars stopped in front of you and you can't stop yourself.
Yeah. What's terrible in Utah, I don't know if it's really bad everywhere, but the lack of using turn signals.
Oh my God.
And Utah is the worst.
Yeah.
You know, you can count on probably about 60% of people just not using their turn signals. And it creates a lot of accidents there.
Yeah, I bet.
Or a lot of unnecessary waiting at intersections or whatever, where it's like they don't put on their turn signal until the very last second. And you're like, wow, I could have gone like 10 seconds ago. Turn signal at the last second of the turn. It's like, oh, thank you.
It's because they just realize, oh, they're probably waiting for me.
Yeah.
Let me turn this on.
Right.
Or I've had that happen where they've put their turn signal on way down the road, so I think they're about to turn in on my left side as I'm about to turn right onto the main road.
Right.
But they don't turn. They're
They
using.
just keep going.
Well, yeah, they keep going. Either they just forgot that the signal was on, or they're turning beyond where I am.
Okay. Yeah.
And it's very confusing. But I see it, from way down the road. So, I usually don't assume that that's what's happening, just because I've had that happen. But sometimes I see them slow down and I think, yeah, they have to be turning right here.
Yeah.
Sure enough. Nope. Okay. I almost caused an accident.
Yeah.
Just because, I don't know, not they're using their turn signal, but maybe not properly.
Yeah.
Video games.
Yes.
You like video games?
A lot.
I'm not as into them as I used to be
Mhm.
when I was younger, but I do like them every now and then when I can play them, except when I have to update for an hour. I was talking with Bryce about that. If I have 20 minutes to play a video game,
Yeah.
and I turn it on and it's all out of date, so it takes an hour and 28 minutes to upload everything or update everything, and or it says you can play without this,
Yeah.
without updating if you want to, but all these things are disabled, so
Right.
it takes away all the fun.
So there is a way to get around it. I don't know how much electricity it uses, meaning like I don't know how it affects your electric bill. But with the PS4, you can put it in rest mode, and it will do all the updating on its own.
I've done that before, updated in rest mode, but it still seems like every time that I want to actually play something, like
Right.
opening up a specific game, I think maybe the storage is an issue. If I don't have enough storage on something,
Okay.
then I'm obviously not going to see it until I open it up, and then it says, hey, you need to delete some shit so I can update, which is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I have to delete so much stuff.
Yeah. You
Or
can
I
swap
do.
out the hard drives on those.
Yeah, I think that's a
500 gig?
Yeah, 500 gig, gotta be. And shit, I only have Call of Duty and like one other game on there right now because Call of Duty destroyed everything that
Right.
I had. I think I might still have God of War on there.
That's a good one.
I really like that one.
It's really
I
good.
don't want to get rid of that one with all the saved
Yeah.
game data and all that kind of stuff,
Right.
because that's a fun game.
It is. Yeah.
I guess if I was going to get into more video games, I like the longer journey fantasy type stuff.
Oh,
so
I do too.
At least I feel like I get my money's worth also because it lasts longer. It's
Right.
more involved and there's decision making, and it's kind of, it's a lot cooler that way. But of course I do like Mortal Kombat and
Gotcha.
just quick games like that too.
I used to be into fighting games a lot when I was younger.
Mhm.
Like the first Mortal Kombat I played was Mortal Kombat 3 on Super Nintendo.
Yeah.
And I used to be obsessed with that.
All the fatalities.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I had like moves lists printed out on pieces of paper
Right.
and stuff. But man, I don't know if I don't have the patience for it anymore, or if it's like one of those things where they're like, the older you get, the harder it is to learn something new. But
none of it works for me.
man, I
Fatalities.
bought the latest Tekken like last year or 2 years ago, Tekken 7.
Mhm.
I literally went into practice mode, opened up the moves list, and then turned the game off.
A little too complex.
There are so many moves for every character. They're so complex that I was like, I'm not going to learn this.
Yeah.
No.
Not going to memorize it. I don't have the bandwidth to keep all this information in my head.
So fighting games for me are no. First-person shooters, I used to love them, but to me, it's hard to find any that capture my attention anymore.
Yeah.
The one thing that has always stuck with me is, like you said, role-playing games, fantasy games.
Yeah.
Like Final Fantasy and latest God of War, and one I've really been into lately is Dark Souls. I don't know, the lore and the story behind it, and like you said, you feel like you get the money's worth of it because some of those games, to completely beat them take like 200 hours.
Yeah. That's intense.
Yeah.
I haven't played any of the Final Fantasy games on anything ever. I wouldn't even know where
It's
to
weird. They're
begin.
all so different in ways.
Okay.
It's like, it's not a continuous story. It's like every single one is different.
That's good though.
Yeah.
I would imagine. Anything that you've had recently that, like a newer one that you really get addicted to? Like what's that Red Dead
Red Dead Redemption?
Yeah.
Yeah, that came out about a year ago, I think. but I played that one quite a bit. It's pretty much Grand Theft Auto in the Wild West days.
Yeah.
So instead of stealing cars, you're stealing carriages and horses and stuff.
Okay. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Dark Souls. What else?
Dark Souls is just known for being extremely difficult, like
Really?
frustratingly difficult.
Okay. I don't want that.
So the currency in the game when you kill stuff is souls. And the creator of the game tried to make it like old school video games where there are checkpoints, but they're few and far between, and whatever happens in between there, good luck.
You gotta start back over.
Right. So every time you die, you go back to the last checkpoint.
Yeah.
But on top of that, when you die, all of your souls drop where you died. And then if you die again on the way there, you lose all of them.
Damn it. That reminds me of Bloodborne. Did you play that one?
Same games.
Okay.
Literally. So the same creator, same guy did Bloodborne. There's also a series called Dark Souls. It started with one called Demon Souls, and then the latest one is Sekiro, which is like a what's the word I'm looking for? Like a samurai. It's like a ninja type dude.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bloodborne was pretty cool. I got to a point with that one where I could not get past certain things. That was one of the ones I think they put out for free 1 month or something, so I downloaded it. And that was fun for a little bit. But yeah, I did get to a point where, okay, I can't beat this person, this thing. And it just seemed to get worse every time I tried, so I just gave up.
It's one of those games where you got to keep your anxiety and your emotions in check because you start getting angry, you start getting frustrated, and you start playing worse.
Yeah.
So you've got to it's weird. It's like a great game, and it teaches you to control your anxiety a bit. It does for me at least, because I notice that I make mistakes if I go into I know this boss is really tough and I've died 30 times and my heart starts racing and my adrenaline's pumping, I always do worse. But if I go in there and try to keep my emotions in check, and because you have to learn to dodge right at the right time, you have to learn the boss's movesets, and once you learn that, then it's no problem.
That's like God of War with the Valkyries.
Yeah. Those are frustrating.
Jesus.
Right.
That last one. Oh my God, that took me a long time.
Yeah.
To beat that last one.
The Valkyries are not easy.
Yeah. I got to a point where I thought 3/4 health is gone for them. Yeah. And I think, yes, I'm about to do. Oh my God, I'm dead.
Yeah.
Like the moment I think I might be able to do it, and it's like I have to stay focused on what I'm doing, not get caught up in I'm going to do it, or getting, like you said, getting super anxious and then just, I don't know, making mistakes.
Well, it's funny because in Dark Souls, bosses are usually 2 phases. So you'll knock one full health bar down.
Okay, yeah.
And then something will change.
Regenerate or something.
Yeah, they'll either change into something different, or something about where you're fighting will change, and they'll gain new movesets, and you have to relearn that second phase. But
stupid.
The latest DLCs that they added, I finally just beat those. You're going into a boss fight, you get through the second phase, and you're like, man, that took me forever to figure this out. Good. And then they get back up for a third phase, and it's like they murder you.
No.
Yeah. I don't know. I love those kinds of games. I think most people would hate them because they're super frustrating, and it takes a lot of, you got to pay attention, but I like that stuff.
Yeah, as long, I guess, have you do you do any research, like watching other people play?
Oh, all the time.
Man, that's cheating. But I've used that to get, I forgot what game that I used that on, just trying to find some things that I was supposed to find. Like, okay, I'm wasting so much time. I cannot find it. Where the hell is this thing?
Yeah.
Because I need this one little bitty thing to open up this whole other section of content. So I got super frustrated. I need to know now.
Man, I'm really big into watching Twitch and stuff like that.
Okay.
Some people find that really weird, but there are people that do things called speed runs.
Yeah, right.
And they run through the game as quick as possible. Right. And they try to find ways to glitch out the game or exploit stuff. But there are Dark Souls speedrunners that literally get through the Bloodborne. People beat that in like 35 minutes.
That is so dumb.
And it's funny because, they do stuff to glitch out the game, but then there's other people. There's this guy on Twitch called the Happy Hob, and he's just incredible at those games, and literally he'll go through the entire series in one run and beat the game without leveling up or getting hit one time.
Fuck that.
Yeah.
That is
and
insane.
I'm getting my ass kicked by one boss for hours, and he runs through the entire game and doesn't get hit once.
Man, how
but
many
it takes him
hours
it'll take him 8 hours to beat all 3 Dark Souls games.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That's intense, man. That's some serious training.
Yeah. But it's weird. I'm super into games, and I watch that stuff as like background noise in my off time.
Really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. But I
can see it being entertaining, though.
I legitimately
too.
like watching it just because the people are so skilled at it.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, man, that's crazy. How do they do that? But
Or you pick up on a couple of moves, even if you don't do the same thing, maybe just one spot. Okay, I'm just going to do that in that one spot and get through it.
Yeah, so I'm really big into watching Twitch streamers that play games that I either used to play or ones that I like playing now, and just, I don't know, I find it super entertaining. To me, it's like watching.
That's cool.
I enjoy watching that stuff more than I do TV shows.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I guess because there's you're trying to understand what's going on too, problem solving, and
right.
Because those games, I'm thinking of God of War. There's a couple of spots that I can't remember what I did the first time around, and right now I haven't played it in a while, but the last time I did play, I was stuck. Like I couldn't get past a certain part, and I could not remember to save my life what I did, or what other little section that I visited to unlock this next, piece or whatever. So I kind of gave up on that again. Which I beat it the first time, but I think it was 4 times that I opened it up.
Okay.
Within a week.
Yeah.
And then I realized, damn it, I still have to find that or do something in order to get past this section, and I couldn't figure it out. So it's just kind of discouraging, because once again, if I don't have a lot of time to play, I don't want to waste it just searching around for stuff. I want to play.
Yeah. I find that I have a ton of downtime lately, and I'm not complaining about that.
Right.
But I usually spend that time, like I said, playing guitar on weekends, or if it's a weekday, then I just go home and play games after work.
Yeah. Hey, you're still working your fingers.
Yeah, true.
With the controllers, so
yeah,
that's good, I guess. What's your pet situation like? No.
I don't currently have any pets.
Nothing, huh?
Nothing.
Oh, wow. No spiders or anything.
Oh, I do have spiders.
Oh, you still have those?
I do, and it's funny that I don't ever really consider them as pets.
Right.
I mean, it's not even like reptiles, having lizards and snakes and stuff. It's different.
So how many do you have now?
2. Yeah.
What kind?
One of them I've had for like 7 years. She's a P Metallica, very, very bright blue colored. And then the other one I got 2 years ago. It's funny, I've had spiders for like 7 years. I've had tons of them, and this is like the first male.
Oh, okay.
I've always, and every time I've gotten one, I've always got them as spiderlings, and watched them grow. And this is the first male I've ever gotten, but I can't remember the species name. It's so long. Pamphobetus species Ecuador 2.
What the hell is that? Sounds like a planet.
I know, right?
Earth 2.
I don't know. I guess it's from Ecuador. I was about to say I don't know where it's from, but it's it's one of the bird-eating species.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And I got it at a pet shop, and it was like a rare kind. It was expensive, and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna get it. I didn't know what it was, and then I researched it when I got home, and I was like, oh, that's what it's gonna be.
Yeah.
But it's a male, luckily, so it's not gonna get gigantic. But he's like this very bright purple color.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I saw a picture of that one, because I think that was one that I was considering at one point, but I might be thinking of the blue. It's like a blue and orange or something.
There's one called the green bottle blue.
I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Chantel and I saw that somewhere.
Yeah.
We considered at one point, maybe.
I think her friend
it was a little baby.
Her friend has a reptile shop, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, he moved away, so
okay.
I think he gave up his shares in that. But
gotcha.
Yeah, we've found a lot of stuff through him and that shop, the Reptarium in Dallas. It's a cool place.
Yeah.
They've expanded too, which I think I've only been there once since they've expanded, but they still weren't finished with everything. So
gotcha.
Probably a lot cooler now. Okay, let's do my 1 second answer to a 1 second question. So it's kind of a this or that. Would you rather?
A would you rather?
So my usual example is I will ask dog or cat.
Cat.
And you just answer as quick as you can. Whatever comes to your head first. I promise I won't embarrass you. Okay, so cat. All right. Coffee or energy drink?
Coffee.
Long hair or short hair?
Long hair.
Down pick or alternate pick?
Alternate. Everything.
Back to the Future or Terminator?
Terminator.
Mac or PC?
Oh, man, there's two used for two different things.
Right. I knew I'd get you on that one.
Oh, Mac.
Texas or Utah?
Texas. That's no question.
I think I might have made these a little hard for you versus other people. Jeff Loomis or Jason Richardson?
Oh, yeah, that one's tough. I'd say Loomis. I don't know.
I think I would have gone.
I
Loomis,
don't.
too.
I don't know where like a lot of my phrasing would be if it wasn't for him.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because there's a lot of instances that I'm like, what would Loomis do here?
Right. Yeah, I think that would be my choice. Football or baseball?
Neither.
I'll accept that answer.
I'm not a sports person.
I'll accept
I
that.
love racing, but I'm not. I think hockey would have been the one I would have
I
chosen.
almost put football or hockey.
Like hockey I like, but I'm just not into sports.
Yeah. Okay. Legato or pick every note?
Pick every note.
I knew it. Broccoli or spinach?
Broccoli.
Beer or liquor?
Liquor.
Heads or tails?
Tails.
Heads.
Oh, failed.
Steak or chicken?
Steak.
Mangini or Portnoy?
Portnoy.
Either or either?
Either.
Christmas or Halloween?
Christmas.
That is it.
Sick.
I try to come up with 15 different things to
Yeah.
throw out there just for fun.
Man, that's tough. I love Halloween as well. But I like Christmas because I don't get to see my family that often.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the main reason I would choose Christmas.
The only other thing that I was going to bring up, just to see where your head was on that, without bringing up any sort of religion or anything like that, do you believe in any form of reincarnation? Or do you have any thoughts about what might happen when you die?
So I can't say I'm religious at all, but I believe in, like, I guess more spiritual type stuff. Like I don't know why I'm super fascinated by ghosts and hauntings and stuff like that.
It is fascinating, though.
Yeah. I mean, none of it's ever really been proven on camera. But apparently it's very hard to capture that stuff on camera.
No, man, that one guy, that buff guy.
Buff guy?
Yeah, the buff dude that has that show, whatever the hell it's called.
Talking about Zach Bagans? Is that
think
his
so.
name?
One that wears like affliction shirts. And
Yeah,
stuff?
yeah, that's him.
I always make fun of him with Chantel because of that translator thing that they have.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he does it like 3 times. Oh my God, you hear that?
Yeah.
Ash.
Man, that stuff is so staged.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure there's got to be stuff.
It has to be.
There's got to be stuff that happens every now and then, but it's like you have to imagine that 95% of the places that they go into, nothing happens.
Yeah.
And they have to make things
You have
up.
to have content. Yes.
Right.
It can't be a complete waste of time.
Can't waste time and money sending people out there. So
Yeah.
I'd say like 95% of that stuff does not happen. But to answer your question, even though I'm not religious, I like to think that there's like a spiritual side of things, I guess, because people are like energy.
Right. Like your consciousness, if that could transfer
Yeah,
somehow.
like kind of like your body is almost just a vessel in a way.
Yeah.
We were just talking about that last night. Yeah, the open casket type thing.
Yeah. Right.
You know, when you go see that, it's weird because you realize, wow, that I'm looking at this body, but that person
This
that I
empty
knew is
vessel.
not there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very strange. That's my more recent, I guess, really as of this year, just kind of thinking in terms of, it sounds silly, but like your consciousness, your essence would be like a little tiny ball of energy,
Right?
You know, like a baseball size is what I'm picturing in my head for whatever reason,
Right? Yeah.
And I think of, you know, when you die, that it's almost like maybe like a gravitational kind of thing where it's like grounded in your body, and then whenever you die, that grounding is released. It's like almost like a magnet or something.
It's holding that inside your body.
And then now that the energy is gone, or that source of whatever that is holding it in place has been dislodged or disabled, and now it can float back up into wherever it's you know, supposed to be. And I picture like a giant lottery ball full of all these little things in there. So the next life that comes into the world,
you get sent back into that.
It just picks out of that giant lottery ball full of souls or essences. And then that's how it works. Like if could have been here several times, or
maybe that's why deja vu happens.
Yeah.
You know, and some people say they experience almost like seeing past life type
memories.
Things. Yeah.
Memories that don't make any sense because you didn't live that.
But they're very vivid.
And that could be dreams too, you know?
Yeah.
Why you think or have these certain weird things that don't make any sense. It could be like a past life, or then you're going to get into super crazy stuff. That could be different frequencies coming into your brain that you don't even know where the hell it's from.
Yeah.
It is some super interesting stuff. I like talking about that stuff, even though I don't I have no idea what I'm
Yeah,
talking
I mean,
about.
I like to believe that that's what happens.
Yeah.
But I'm very into that kind of stuff, and I'm also extremely into like how the universe works, space in general,
Yeah.
and crazy stuff like black holes and other dimensions, and
Yeah.
I love that
Sure,
kind of stuff.
you've seen Interstellar, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I loved that concept of just like it being a timeline, like,
Right.
like you could visit any place in time or, any place just by accessing that, just some sort of wormhole or something like that is really interesting.
I like the theory that our universe is actually inside of a black hole, and that's why it's constantly expanding. It's absorbing more stuff, and
Right. Yeah, that would make sense.
and that other black holes are literally just gateways to other universes.
Yeah. And if we have alternate universes or, different dimensions or different simulations,
Yeah.
have you dabbled in that?
Oh, like the simulation theory stuff?
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Just to think that we're all in a game or something.
But I mean,
Because that's almost like where your thoughts might come from. Who's telling me all this stuff?
right. And it's not that hard to believe anymore, because once we get to the point that we can simulate a human,
Yeah.
and it's very, very accurate, then what's to say that that's not what we're in?
Yeah. With all the AI that's going to take over and
Right.
consume our bodies.
Man, there is a podcast that I watched on YouTube recently. I can't remember the guy's name, but he was interviewing someone that's just like an expert on AI and 5G and stuff like that. And they were just talking about where that's going to go in the next 5-10 years.
Yeah.
And it was like, the guy was like, man, the world as you know it is going to completely change within the next 10 years because of 5G and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And AI just, it's not going to be the same.
Yeah.
And it's kind of going to be the end of human beings as we know it, where they're just purely humans. It's not going to be, like Elon Musk is doing Neuralink. Have you heard of that?
Right. Yeah, I saw
So it's like
his presentation on that or whatever. That was nuts.
right. It's like having Google in your brain.
Yeah.
And that's going to be a reality within the next 10 years.
Yeah. It's scary.
Yeah.
That's a whole complete next step in evolution.
Right.
I forgot who I talked with about that recently, but as far as maybe extending your life indefinitely, where you could, take your internal hard drive and put it into a actual hard drive somewhere, if your body is dying and there's a way to plug in somewhere and download all your info,
Yeah, there's a couple movies out there. I can't really think of any of the names off the top of my head, but they're about transferring consciousness. Being able to download that from your head and store it and put it in another body, and
That
you're
might
good
be
to
like
go.
a Black Mirror thing too. Have you seen any of those?
Yeah, but there was another one that had to do with robots,
Okay.
and it was a Netflix movie. And
Oh, yeah.
and the robot's name was Chappie. Maybe that's
That
the name
one?
of the name of the movie, Chappie. I don't remember, but
That sounds familiar. I think that might be it, but I don't know if I saw that one.
gotcha.
I can't remember shit.
Yeah.
I'm terrible.
There's so much stuff on Netflix and other streaming services. It's like hard to keep track of stuff.
But yeah, those are really interesting too. I mean, that's crazy to think of, because I brought up the possibility of someone dying or like trying to kill themselves or something. Just maybe a bad person or something, and they're trying to get out of here, and then you keep them from doing that, and then take everything out of take their brain,
Actually,
download their info, or
yeah,
make them suffer for eternity, kind of a situation where you can make them live forever somehow, is what I mean.
Oh, that would be interesting.
Yeah. Kind of fucked up.
Yeah, really fucked up. But there is a Netflix series that I watched recently. I highly recommend it. It's called Altered Carbon.
I started that, but I don't know why I didn't keep watching it. I think I got like 2 episodes in.
Man, it took me, I think I watched the first episode like 3 times over the course of like a year or two. And I was like, man, I just can't get into this. And finally I just pushed through it, and then I binged watched it in like 2 days.
Maybe that's what I need to do, is get past the little hump or something.
But they have these discs in the back of their neck, and that's like where their consciousness is, and the bodies are just shells. But like depending on like your social status, almost depends on what shell you get next.
Okay.
And sometimes they're called sleeves.
Oh.
And I forgot, man, yeah, they're called sleeves. And at one point it's crazy because somebody got trans sleeved. It's like a woman.
Oh, that's weird.
A woman got put into a man's body.
Okay.
And like she hadn't seen her husband for years, for like 3 episodes or so. Like this dude gets his wife back, but it's a man's body. but it's her consciousness in it. And then finally,
Strange.
things change. But the whole concept of that's really weird because you're just kind of, unless you have money, you don't get a good sleeve.
Okay.
And you're just kind of thrown into whatever's there.
Sure.
You don't know what you're going to get.
Yeah. So that goes with the lottery ball thing that I was
Right.
I'm thinking of too.
Yeah, but they make it like a
Similar.
real life thing that's controllable.
Yeah.
And they can keep criminals locked up because, man, I can't remember what the things in their neck are called, pods or something like that, but they keep those stored away.
Would that be like as the criminal, or do you mean
Like,
just like
so like, let's say they destroy the sleeve of the criminal. They take the thing in their neck and just keep it stored.
Yeah.
So they're not
lock it away?
like their consciousness is there and they can be reanimated at any point, but that's up to whoever controls what's going on there.
It's almost like Demolition Man.
Yeah.
How they froze everybody. They did the cryoprism. That's what it was. I could totally see that. I don't know about the cryoprism thing, but the disc thing. If we're all gonna end up, bionic, whatever.
Yeah.
Where we have downloadable content or
Yeah.
removable content, or you could tune up somebody.
Yeah.
Maybe if somebody was screwed up somehow, you might be able to go in there and tweak some software or something to make something different, which is also kind of scary because that could take away from personality, and then you are a robot at that point.
There's a game coming out. It's called Cyberpunk, and it deals with that. Like your whole body, you can change at any point. You can modify it in any way.
Like limbs.
You can modify your face. You can change your voice. You can do whatever, and you can add like abilities to your body. But it's like, I guess that's kind of what you're talking about. You can just change your body to do whatever the hell you want.
Yeah, upgrade.
Right. And now, I'm totally blanking on what it's even called. There was a whole Netflix series on it.
Like a fantasy or a
No, this is like
documentary?
this is like real life stuff. But it was like a Netflix series and it was like a documentary. Biohacking.
I saw the, whatever thumbnail for it. I never saw it actually.
Yeah, so biohacking is becoming a thing. And there's this thing called CRISPR.
Oh,
and,
right.
It's able to like change your genomes, like your genetic code. And they're studying how to use it in like a very positive way now where they can cure genetic diseases.
Before they...
Even in like embryos.
Right.
Which is like there's an ethical thing there that people are kind of fighting. But you can also do other things with CRISPR, like you can choose your baby's eye color.
Right. That's what that is. Yeah, that's right.
And they just inject this stuff into the embryo and it's like, okay, well, your baby's got blue eyes now.
Yeah.
Or here's their hair color. What other people are trying to do is like you can inject yourself with stuff. It's like, oh, you want super strength. Here you go. You want vision like a hawk. There you go.
Jeez.
I mean, that's a ways off, but that's a possibility.
Kind of like the Matrix.
Right.
Plugging into the back of your head and, programming all these...
this is
things.
just changing your genetic code.
But before that...
Yeah, they were doing crazy stuff where they were experimenting on rats. And they took the stuff from, I think it was fireflies that make them glow.
Oh, yeah.
And put it into rats, and they actually glowed in the dark.
Right.
And they were going to start testing it on dogs, is what they were going to do next. But they just wanted to see if they could actually do that and modify stuff.
Wasn't that an individual that started that, I think?
Yeah, I want to say his name is Josiah or something like
so.
that. But he started it, but the whole series on Netflix kind of covers that, but also the ethical side of things. But there's like two guys that work together, and one of them is doing that on dogs.
Okay. That is crazy stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know about it. That's probably where we're going to get the zombies from.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about how that's going to happen. It's going to be some super virus or some sort of tampering somewhere.
Right.
And we are seriously going to make some sort of creature out of ourselves. Maybe not a zombie, but I mean, I don't know. I think there's potential for it. Not that I want it to happen or anything, but...
I'm not sure what side to side with, because I think there's a lot of crazy ethical questions you have to ask yourself when it comes to all the crazy technology that's coming around and the biohacking and things like that. But then there's something inside me that's like, that's really cool.
It is cool.
And I can't wait to see where it goes. But I can see it. There can be some messed up stuff coming from it.
Right.
Somebody's going to use it in some crazy way.
Yeah, just like your standard AI, using it for all the, tasks that we don't need to be doing or we don't have to do anymore. The AI can handle all that, but we're ultimately giving more and more responsibility and more, I guess, room to give control to something that we don't even know can handle the control or know how to control. Just like it's like a paperclip something. I think it's been distorted several times since I've heard it, or since who originally said it. But one of the more recent ones that I heard was given the example of a paperclip making machine or whatever, AI. You want to maximize your paperclip making. So the AI has to figure out what is the best solution. How can we make the most paperclips? Yeah. And the best and most efficient way is to get rid of humans, because humans destroy the earth, and you need the earth to make this, and we need this to make the paperclips, and or using all the energy from humans, using all the matter around to create some sort of, something. Yeah. And you don't take into consideration that you're about to exterminate the entire population. It just like one little bitty glitch like that could destroy, if not all civilization, a chunk of civilization. It's very morbid. It's very negative to think that way, but I mean, it's not far-fetched to think that there could be a disaster like that. Right. Where just the same as a self-driving car down the road, it comes into a position where it can either hit one old person or 3 kids. Right. What is it going to choose?
Yeah, I've seen people talk about that, and the AI has to determine what's the lesser of 2 evils.
That's crazy.
Yeah. Man, the thing I watched, that podcast, he was talking about like different levels of AI.
Yeah. Was that Max Tegmark, maybe?
Maybe. I don't know. I'd have to look it up. It was something that I watched probably about a month ago. Like, it came out not too long ago. But he was talking about like the AI we have now is just like typically like good at doing one thing. Yeah. And then he said the next level was called GAI, which is like general. And that was like AI that's pretty good at like most things humans can do. It's like they can do it better than humans. It's much more efficient. And then there was one where the guy said that
where you also have super
there's
AI.
SAI. That's what he was talking about.
Yeah. And that's the superior.
Yeah. And he was saying, an example of that is like having people walking around in a room and then like a fly landing on the table, except that the humans are the fly. The AI is everything else going on around that. Right. So like the fly has no idea what's going on. It's just doing what a fly does. Yeah. And then the AI is like everything around it being like, oh, we need to kill that fly. Yeah. And it's just like these all powerful beings.
That's creepy, man. Yeah. Yeah, one of the book that I'm reading, I haven't read it much recently, but it's Super Intelligence. Yeah, he talked about all the levels of what it would take and what we can possibly expect, what the potentials are, what the positives and negatives.
Glenn Beck.
Yeah,
that's not blocking out the guy's name, but it was super interesting. Jeff Brown. Yeah, and it's about hour and 40 minutes long, but it's super interesting because they talk about the benefits of 5G, which I had no idea how that's going to change the world. I thought it was just like, oh, it's going to be faster phones. Right. But like it allows you to do download speeds and upload speeds of like the same as fiber optic internet in your house. Yeah. So what they were saying is that it opens up possibilities for crazy stuff, like say somebody needs some kind of crazy surgery on the east coast of the country, but the doctors on the west coast, they could do robotic surgery across the country, and it's fine because there's no latency because 5G is so fast.
God, that's nuts.
And
man.
He was saying, the reason why autonomous cars are limited right now is because they have to send and receive data. Right. But with 5G, it's going to be instant. So once 5G is implemented, then autonomous cars are just going to go through the roof. Yeah, and the more you get on the road, the more they can probably communicate, and it'll be more efficient. They send data, and they're learning. The cars are learning while they're doing things. So the longer those cars are on the road, the smarter they're going to be.
Yeah, and that's what's kind of scary about the I guess AI getting loose at some point where it took us forever to evolve to what we are now, and the fact that how has AI changed in the past 40 years? I mean, once you get to a certain point where the AI could basically fix and repair itself and troubleshoot its own issues, and it's almost like self-sustaining, then what's to say that it's not going to seek more improvement, not just look for errors, but seek more efficiencies, constantly seeking to be the best and better and better and better.
Yeah.
And what's going to contain it? What's going to make it stop doing that? Is it going to be a person that says, hey dude, you don't need to do all that.
Yeah.
You're fine the way you are. And the computer is, I don't know what you mean.
Yeah.
I need to be the best and most efficient. That's what my task is. That's what I'm here to do. And when is it gain consciousness at some point? Or will it gain consciousness? That's
computer. Yeah.
That's what's really scary too. I mean, what I don't know. There's all sorts of possibilities, and they all kind of scare the shit out of me.
Man, they were talking also about like which AI services to use and which not to use.
Okay.
Because they were talking about some companies have done shady, really bad things with data, people's data, and some are generally safe. So the bad ones are Google and Facebook. They have sold people's data to do crazy stuff. So Facebook has their own AI stuff. Google has their Google Home thing. And he was like, do not use that because you don't know where your data is going. You don't know what's up. Apparently, Amazon is the leading company in the entire world for AI right now. And so he said their stuff, like the Amazon Alexa stuff, is totally fine. So he's like, use that.
Really?
But he was saying, within the next 10 years, Amazon's going to get to the point where it'll start ordering things for you before you even order it yourself.
Oh, cut the cord.
But it's like things that you would need.
Yeah.
It's because it hears you talking about stuff, and it's like, oh, it shows up at your door, and you're like, oh, I was going to order that, but Amazon did it for you.
Hey,
already.
that already happened.
Yeah.
With that package.
Oh, right.
I got
that's right.
on accident the other day.
Right.
That's something that I was totally going to order.
Yeah.
It's begun already.
Yeah, but next 10 years, it's going to be crazy.
Yeah, it's going to get worse or better.
Probably a bit of both.
But yeah, it might get better then worse.
Yeah.
The potential is all over the place, and it is really scary. And it's crazy that so many people have no clue or even think that it might be silly. Like, oh no, that's not going to happen. Or
that's going to happen.
What do you think? There's going to be like Terminator robots? Like, well, not necessarily, but there could be something close to that as far as destruction goes. It doesn't have to be a physical thing with a machine gun, but it could take over everything. I mean, everything that we do is online or on the computer now, or your phone or tablet or whatever. So, if something else is in control of that, what are you going to do?
I mean, 10 years ago, we were barely just getting smartphones.
Yeah.
So at 10 years from now, there's probably going to be some crazy stuff you see in sci-fi movies that you're like, oh, that'll never happen. Yeah. But it really will.
Yeah, it'll be implanted in your arm. You're not going to have a phone. You're just going to have it in your hand or your arm or something. It's going to be a part of you somehow. Maybe not a chip, but that's what I was thinking about with the Apple Watch. Just watching how that works. It's essentially a little phone, but it tells you your heart rate and all that kind of stuff too. So it's getting closer and closer to your body, to maybe to where it's going to be inside of you at some point,
right?
And connected to your brain somehow, or I don't know. It's all very weird.
Yeah,
can't imagine thinking about this 60 years ago or 80 years ago.
Oh no!
And some people have. There are like old books that people have written predicting some things that either haven't happened or did happen at some point as far as AI goes, or just contemplating the possibilities of negative repercussions on with a computer or something. Just having a computer being built, they already can predict that this might happen, and that's 80 years from then or something.
I wonder if things keep advancing that way because of people like that.
Yeah, like seeing all the movies, and you think, oh wow, that movie was right, or we made that movie and we totally
gave somebody an idea,
yeah,
and then they created it,
right?
So like, what if nobody had ever even thought of a computer?
Yeah, and if this is like a simulation theory, we're just doing it over and over again. Right. We just keep getting to the same spot. We all evolve into this robotic form of ourselves, and it's all automated artificial intelligence, and then we end up destroying ourselves somehow, and it just starts all over again. It's just like a cycle that just goes over and over
there's
again.
There's a theory, and I can't remember what the name of it is, but it goes through like the different levels that a civilization would have to go through, and like where that peaks. Like what
Okay.
kills off
Right.
a species or civilization or whatever. And like the first one is just that they don't make it past that single cell level.
Right.
There's no evolution or mutation to get past that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's like natural disasters and stuff, but it gets up to a point where like maybe there's nothing out in the universe because it hits a wall.
Mm-hmm.
Everything has hit a certain wall. And one of them is that a civilization just becomes so advanced that their AI takes over.
Mm-hmm.
But the next level would be that obviously that doesn't happen. But that's one of the like main walls is that AI takes over and just kills off the civilization.
Yeah.
Or the AI ends up destroying the planet
Yeah.
and all, you know, everything.
Killing itself with that.
Yeah.
Because when the world is gone, what do you have?
Yeah.
Well, I guess you could put electrical signal out into space, and something will find it.
I mean, we do that enough. There's
Yeah.
like constant radio waves and
Yeah.
stuff. We're pretty much like a loudspeaker in space.
Right. That's nuts. I wonder if you could see if there's a way to see all the frequencies and stuff. Because I mean, there's Wi-Fi, there's Bluetooth.
Yeah.
All of these frequencies and waves are all around us all the time, and you can't see anything. I mean, what does it affect? What does it actually do? You know, like putting earbuds in and having Bluetooth crammed into your brain all day long, every day.
Yeah.
I mean, is there some sort of effect, or would there be?
That's why a lot of people were scared of the whole 5G thing initially, is because they were afraid that, because, 5G, that's a frequency, the 5 gigahertz frequency, and they were afraid that being cranked out everywhere was going to start like giving people cancer and start, affecting people's bodies in negative ways. But I mean, the more I've read about it, the more it's just like a scare tactic type thing. But I mean, people do worry about that a lot.
Yeah.
Constantly having cell phones in your pocket, and
I totally have had that phantom vibration.
Oh, I
before.
do too. Yeah, every now and then.
A certain spot on my leg where I had like cargo pants I would wear to work, and I would keep my phone in my side pocket on my leg. I would feel a little vibration.
Feels
or
like a
something.
text message. Yeah.
And my phone's not in my pocket.
Sometimes I hear the Apple text tone go off, and I go in the other room, and nothing happened on my phone.
Yeah.
And it's just because you're so accustomed to it now that it's like
disgusting.
Part of your body is part of your life,
Yeah. That's sick.
Yeah.
It's really sad.
Yeah.
I was listening to a podcast yesterday, and I don't even remember who it was, what it was about, but they talked about the simplicity of I guess it was trying to compare like learning in school and how did, like, ask, that's what it was. It was asking a teacher, how did you do this? How did you do this when you were a student? How did you learn about this? And, whatever. And she basically said, well, I talked to peers about it, and we actually talked and had conversations. We didn't just text about stuff or, talk in class or whatever. I was on a phone. There was nothing to distract me. I wasn't going somewhere, driving somewhere. I was concentrated on a conversation because my phone was connected to the wall.
Right.
And I'm stuck here. I'm just stuck here talking and fully engaging into a conversation with somebody and really absorbing all the information, which is another great thing about podcasting too, which is, having that connection and conversing with one another. It's not what people do anymore. So that's why it's a spectacle, wow, these people are talking together.
They're in the same room.
Whoa. And it's kind of sad, but that's another reason why I really enjoy doing this, because I do miss those days of simplicity and really engaging and talking to people and knowing people more, and where they come from, what kind of thoughts they have. And
well, I think another big part of that is people being bad at conversation now, because they don't have to communicate in that way.
Right. They'd rather just do it through their phone.
Right.
Or whatever.
I mean, I'm not the greatest at it. I have a weird problem of like thinking of things to talk about. I don't know if that's necessarily because of like the way technology's gotten, but it's just people nowadays just can't talk to each other.
Yeah. And you don't get phone calls very much anymore.
No,
I do for work all the time, but that's a completely different thing. But as far as like a friend reaching out or something, it's usually a scheduled thing. Like, I'm gonna call you later, or can I call you? Or, it's not just a cold call anymore.
Usually I only call people if it's something that's like urgent. Like I need to figure something out like right now. Yeah. Otherwise I text.
And I don't get upset necessarily if I get a phone call, but a lot of times it does come through when I'm doing something.
Right.
And I think that's what makes me more prone to send a text message to somebody,
Right.
just say like, "Hey, if you're not busy, can you talk for a minute?"
Yeah.
You know, because I don't want to put somebody on the spot like that.
Well, yeah, I always do
Even
that.
though it's silly to think that way.
Right.
It's just a phone call. You know,
Yeah.
you're just talking with your mouth to somebody, just like you've done your entire life.
Hey, you got a sec to talk to me? You
Yeah,
know?
it's so
Can you
weird.
take a break?
But that's where we
Yeah.
are. Man, that was a fun little thing that we just talked about. All that shit.
Yeah.
That was the last thing that I had on here was, consciousness and all
Gotcha.
that kind of stuff. So that was fun.
Man, that was a quick 2 hours.
Yeah, very quick.
Yeah, it did not feel like 2 hours.
That's crazy. Well, man, I'm out of shit to talk about
All right.
for now.
That was fun.
Because that was kind of last minute, so I probably could have come up with some more stuff. But
That was a lot of fun.
This is good. Awesome. So I don't know when this is going to be released, but today is New Year's Eve, and we're going to go party now.
Jello shots.
Jello shots in your face. All right, everybody. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next year. Bye-bye.
Rusty's Escape Pod. Rusty's Escape Pod.